Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at what you might call a career blueprint for a working comedian. And we're using John Caparulo's path as our sort of case study.
Yeah, it's a great example. We got this really detailed biography, almost like a strategic timeline.
Yeah.
And when you lay it all out, Caparulo's career is not just a series of gigs.
Mm-hmm.
It feels planned, calculated almost.
Right.
It's a masterclass, really, in how you take that temporary buzz, a late-night set, being a panelist, and you turn it into something solid, something you own, like that Vegas residency he has now.
Exactly. And that's the core question we want to unpack today for you listening. How does someone like Caparulo strategically navigate that? Balancing needing that mainstream TV exposure, which is crucial early on, but then pivoting towards creating your own stuff, independent content, and finally landing something sustainable like a residency. It's not just about the jokes, is it? It's about building a business, controlling your creative output.
Precisely. And looking at the source material, you can kind of break his journey down into three key phases, strategically speaking. First, you've got what I call the grind and proximity. Those early years, pure hustle, just trying to be physically near where things happen.
Okay.
Then comes phase two, the visibility engine.
Mm-hmm.
This is where TV, especially consistent TV, turns him from just another comic into someone people recognize, a brand.
Makes sense.
And finally, phase three, IP control and residency. Taking that brand recognition and locking down ownership of his material, his schedule, his income.
All right, let's dive into phase one then. The beginning. Okay, so starting right at the beginning, let's ground this. John Caparulo, born East Liverpool, Ohio, September 22, 1975.
Solid Midwestern roots.
Yeah, and he stayed there through college, Kent State University, graduated in 98. And it's interesting, these roots aren't just trivia points, are they? They seem kind of central to his whole comedy persona later on.
Absolutely. That everyman thing, it feels authentic because it is authentic. For observational comedy, having that specific grounding, that viewpoint, it's gold. He wasn't trying to be some edgy coastal type.
Right.
And he didn't waste time. The source says he started stand-up in 1997.
So while still in college or just after?
Yeah, which shows, an immediate commitment. He wasn't waiting around to feel ready or whatever. He just jumped in.
Where did he start performing then? Back in Ohio?
Initially, yeah. Nightclubs in Cleveland and Pittsburgh, too, those regional scenes.
That's often overlooked, that early grind outside the big centers, learning to handle crowds that aren't, industry people.
Oh, it's crucial. It toughens you up, makes you learn what actually works with real people, not just other comics. It's like a crucible for your material.
Builds the stamina, I guess.
Totally. But the real commitment, the LA grind, as we called it, starts when he makes that move, West Coast. Los Angeles.
All right, the classic move.
And this is where you see the sacrifice involved. The source details his jobs at the time, and it's pretty revealing.
This is the part that always stands out to me. He had two jobs for several years, right?
Yep. Wildly different jobs, too. He was a doorman at the Comedy Store in Hollywood. Iconic place.
Wow.
And at the same time, he was working as a groundskeeper at a golf course.
A doorman and a groundskeeper. That's a serious hustle, like physically demanding long hours, probably.
Absolutely. Think about it. The groundskeeper job, that's the practical one. Pays the rent, probably decent, reliable hours outdoors.
Yeah.
Keeps you solvent.
Okay, makes sense. Keeps the lights on.
But the doorman job at the Comedy Store, that's the strategic move. That's not just about the paycheck, which was probably minimal.
Right. What's the strategy there? Just being near comedy.
Exactly. It's proximity. You are literally standing at the doorway through which every important comedian, booker, agent, manager, network exec in town has to walk.
You're seeing everyone.
You're seeing everyone. You're hearing everything. You become a familiar face. It's like an apprenticeship through sheer presence.
But couldn't that be, like, psychologically brutal? You're exhausted from your day job, maybe, and then you spend your night watching comics kill on stage, people living the dream you want while you're checking IDs or whatever.
Oh, it's definitely a massive mental test.
Yeah.
No doubt. And that's probably why not everyone who tries that path makes it.
Yes.
You need resilience.
Yeah.
But if you can handle it, the payoff is potentially huge. You're soaking up comedy just by being there. Timing, stage presence, joke structure, osmosis.
You're learning passively.
And, crucially, you become known to the people who matter. Not as a threat, just as that guy who works the door.
Yeah.
So you finally do get a shot on stage, maybe an audition spot. People recognize you. They know you've put in the time, paid your dues.
Okay, I see that. It's about demonstrating commitment, being visible within the scene itself.
He was prioritizing that strategic position, that network access, even if it meant hardship over maybe a slightly better paying job somewhere else
Yeah.
that kept him isolated.
So phase one summed up: maintain your authentic voice, the Ohio roots, but physically plant yourself where the industry action is, LA, and find a way to be in the key locations even if it's sweeping the floor. Proximity over pay, basically.
Perfectly put. And
Yeah.
all that groundwork, all that grinding, it set the stage for what happened next, which wasn't slow and steady. It was pretty explosive.
Right, the breakthrough. Okay, so 2003 seems to be the watershed year. Everything changes.
Dramatically. All that time, working the door, working the clubs, it paid off.
Yeah.
Big time. The catalyst was his appearance at the Just for Laughs Festival in Montreal.
The big one.
Yeah, for comics, that's like the Olympics or something. If you do well there, everyone notices. And apparently he crushed it.
And the source says the impact was immediate.
Immediate is the word used, yeah.
Hmm.
It's kind of rare. It says he was immediately offered a sitcom.
Wow. Straight off the bat.
Shows that they saw him as having that commercial appeal, right? And maybe even more importantly, strategically, he got offered a spot on the Late Late Show with Craig Kilborn.
Okay, that's huge. That first late night spot, that's the traditional marker, isn't it? Moves you up a level.
It's the currency. It turns you from a club headliner, maybe, into someone bookable nationwide, someone agents take more seriously.
And you can see in the dates, right? He gets on Kilborn quickly.
Yep. First appearance, May 7, 2003. Then, crucially, he's back less than a year later, May 5, 2004.
Getting rebooked quickly like that, that's a good sign.
It's the industry saying, okay, he worked. The audience liked him. I'm back.
Yeah.
That builds momentum fast.
And that momentum opened other doors, right? More TV spots.
Definitely. He landed on Comedy Central's Premium Blend in February 2005. That's important for reaching the core, younger comedy audience on cable.
Okay.
But the real mainstream validation back then, the big prize, was The Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Ah, yes. The ultimate seal of approval for broad appeal. Did he get on Leno?
He did, and not just once. He became a recurring guest, which is even better.
Really? Multiple times.
Yeah, the source lists, August 2005, then again April 2006, and a third time January 2008.
Okay, 3 shots on Leno in that prime era. That tells you his stuff was connecting, it was clean enough, relatable enough for that huge middle America audience. That translates directly to ticket sales on the road.
Absolutely. It confirms you're a reliable bet for theaters and bigger clubs.
And this TV exposure wasn't just solo spots. It led to bigger opportunities, like tours.
Exactly. He became part of the blue-collar comedy tour, The Next Generation, hosted by Bill Engvall.
Oh, wow. Joining that franchise, that's tapping into a massive built-in audience, isn't it?
Huge. Strategically, that's brilliant. The blue-collar brand had this incredibly loyal following. People bought tickets because they trusted the name. Being part of that instantly put him in front of enormous crowds who were already primed to like his kind of humor.
A very specific, very dedicated demographic, probably more valuable long-term than just a random viral moment.
Much more. Reliable ticket buyers. And then there was the documentary exposure, too.
Right. Vince Vaughn's Wild West Comedy Tour. That came out around 2008, filmed a bit earlier.
First shown in 2006, yeah.
What's the significance of being in something like that? Is it just cool, or does it serve a career purpose, being seen hanging out with Vaughn and those guys?
Oh, it definitely serves a purpose. In that world, association is credibility.
Right.
Being documented on tour, joking around, basically being accepted into the inner circle of a major star like Vince Vaughn,
Yeah.
it sends a signal.
To who? Agents, managers.
Yeah, exactly. Agents, managers, network people, club owners.
Yep.
It says, this guy is legit. He's professional. He can handle big tours, big venues. He's validated by people already at the top.
Okay, so it's an industry stamp of approval?
Pretty much. So this whole period, roughly 2003 to 2008, it was all about taking that initial festival buzz and leveraging it into consistent TV appearances, which then built the credibility needed for major tours and industry recognition.
He went from the guy at the door to a known quantity, a touring professional, setting things up for the next big phase, which really cemented his public image.
Precisely. The phase where he became truly recognizable to almost everyone. Okay, so the next big chunk of his career, let's say 2008 through 2014, this is really where the John Caparulo brand gets locked in. And the centerpiece of that is undeniably Chelsea lately.
Ah, yes. The E! Show. He was on that a lot, wasn't he?
Constantly. For the entire 7-year run of the show, he was a regular recurring face on that roundtable panel.
7 years? That's more than just occasional exposure. That's becoming part of people's daily or weekly routine.
Exactly. Think about the difference. A 5-minute stand-up set on Leno is great. People might remember your name or a specific joke.
Right.
But sitting on that panel, night after night, for 7 years, viewers get to know you. Your personality, your takes, your reactions, your cadence. You're not just a comedian doing material, you're a known personality.
Yeah, you become familiar, like someone they kind of know.
Totally. It cemented him in the public consciousness in a way stand-up specials alone rarely do. Chelsea Lately was a cultural thing for a while there, and he was a core part of it. That show became his main marketing platform.
And did he leverage that platform? Did he use that visibility to do other things?
Oh, definitely. He was smart about it. He diversified. Didn't just rely on Chelsea or stand-up.
Like what else was he doing?
Well, he took on a hosting gig, Mobile Home Disaster, on CMT. The source notes. It started in 2008 and was ongoing.
CMT, interesting. Connecting back to that blue-collar country audience, maybe.
Seems likely, doesn't it? Reinforcing that connection. Then he also dipped his toe into scripted TV acting. He played a character called Brian on an ABC sitcom called Work It. It was short-lived, apparently.
Okay, trying different things.
Yeah, and maybe most surprisingly, he got into voice acting. He voiced a character named Headphone Joe on a Disney animated show, Fishhooks.
Voice acting, that's a different skill set.
It is, but look at the strategy here. Hosting on CMT targets one audience. A network sitcom tries for broad appeal. Voice acting on Disney. That opens up a whole different demographic, kids, families, and it gives him experience in animation, which becomes important later.
Smart. Hedging his bets, building different skills, not putting all his eggs in the stand-up basket.
Exactly. It's career management, building a portfolio.
And all this steady work, this visibility, presumably gave him the stability to release his own stand-up specials.
Yeah, that's when his first big special dropped. John Caparulo, Meet Cap, aired on Comedy Central December 2008.
Meet Cap. Okay. Standard Comedy Central release.
Pretty standard, yeah. And the release strategy was typical for the time, too. CD came out February 2009. DVD followed in April 2009.
How did it do commercially?
Did all right. The album hit number 8 on the U.S. comedy charts. Solid performance for a Comedy Central special.
Okay. Standard success.
But then comes the second album, and this is where it gets really interesting, I think.
What was the second one?
Come Inside Me. Released a few years later, August-September 2013. And this one came out on Netflix.
Ah, Netflix. The game was changing by then.
Right. And the chart performance for this album, this is where you see the payoff from all that previous work.
How so? Did it chart higher on comedy?
It did. Hit number 2 on U.S. comedy. Huge success.
Great.
But it also charted on the U.S. country albums chart.
Wait, what? A comedy album charted on the country music chart?
Yep. Peaked at number 59 on U.S. country.
That's bizarre and fascinating. Why? How does a stand-up comedy album end up on the country charts?
This is the proof, right? It confirms that the strategy worked. All those years on Chelsea Lately gave him broad name recognition. But the blue-collar tour connection, the CMT hosting gig, that built a genuine bridge to that heartland, country-leaning audience.
So his humor, his persona, it resonated with them specifically?
Seems so. His style is very observational, relatable, often about everyday frustrations, family stuff. It's grounded, not particularly edgy or coastal. It connects with the kind of audience that listens to country music, watches CMT.
He wasn't just playing to the comedy club nerds or the LA, New York crowds. He was reaching the people Bill Engvall reached.
Exactly. And that country chart appearance is statistical proof of it. It shows incredibly deep market penetration. That audience is known for being really loyal, too.
Right. They stick with their artists.
So charting on both comedy and country. That tells you he had arguably the broadest possible touring base in the U.S. market at that point. Diverse geographically, diverse socioeconomically.
Wow. Okay. So the visibility phase wasn't just about being seen. It was about strategically building a connection with a massive, loyal audience segment.
And that success, that broad appeal, set him up perfectly for the next big strategic move, taking control, moving into independence.
Okay, so Chelsea Lately ends in 2014 after that long 7-year run. What happens next? Does he look for another panel show, another network gig?
Nope. He makes a really clear, decisive pivot, almost immediately. He shifts away from relying on traditional TV for his primary output and starts building his own thing, his own content world.
This is where it gets really modern, right? Taking control of distribution.
Exactly. And his first move was pretty innovative, especially for 2014. He launched something called Caplets.
Caplets, like little pills of comedy.
Kinda, yeah. The concept was a brand new set of professionally filmed stand-up comedy, released every single month, 30 days, new material.
Every month. That's a demanding schedule. Most comics wait years between specials.
Right. But think about the advantages. Why do this instead of waiting for, say, another Netflix deal?
Well, you're constantly putting out new stuff, keeping your name out there, staying relevant between big projects.
That's part of it. It manages audience expectation. They know they'll get fresh, quality stuff regularly. It also means he's constantly working out and refining material in front of an audience, not just hoarding it for 2 years.
Like a public workshop, almost.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing, strategically, ownership and distribution.
Where were these caplets released?
He filmed them himself, or his team did, at well-known clubs like the Comedy and Magic Club in Hermosa Beach and the Ice House in Pasadena, good venues, and then he released them for free on his own website.
For free? On his site?
Yeah, bypassing networks, bypassing YouTube monetization initially, maybe.
Yeah.
Just direct to the fans.
So he controls the content 100%. No network notes, no platform rules, and he owns the footage.
Exactly. He owns the IP. He controls the data, the fan relationship. He essentially became his own mini-comedy network, delivering directly to his audience. That's a huge shift in power from being just a performer for hire.
That's the producer mindset kicking in. Okay, so the caplets were about frequent owned content. Was that the only independent thing he was doing?
No, that was just the start. Around the same time, also starting in 2014, he began developing a much bigger, more ambitious independent project, Cartoon Comic.
Cartoon comic, what's that?
It's basically an animated series concept based directly on his own life. Being a working comedian, but also a husband and eventually a father, leveraging that whole relatable persona we talked about.
An animated series, that's a big undertaking. And it connects back to that voice acting he did for Disney, right?
Makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's got the experience, he's got the established persona, now he's building an intellectual property around it that he can potentially own and control long term.
Has he actually made it? Or is it just an idea?
He's been actively developing it in multiple ways. The source mentions he's written a comic book series based on the concept.
Okay, multimedia.
Yeah. And he's also independently produced several animated stand-up shorts using the cartoon comic style and put them on his website and YouTube.
So he's building the world, testing the concept, creating assets. It's not just waiting for someone to greenlight it. He's actively making it happen himself, piece by piece.
That's the independent creator model. Parallel processing, keep touring, keep doing the caplets, but also steadily build your own long-term IP asset on the side.
And this focus on his personal life, his family, as the basis for the cartoon, that seems like a deliberate brand extension.
Absolutely deliberate. And you see it reflected in his other independent stuff, too, like his radio show, The Madcap Hour.
He had a radio show, too.
Yeah, intermittently hosted. And who were his co-hosts? His wife, Jamie Caparulo, and another comedian, Mark Ellis.
His wife. Okay, so really leaning into the family, domestic angle as part of the public brand.
Totally. It makes the cartoon comic concept feel even more authentic because people are literally hearing him interact with his wife on the radio show discussing their life. It all feeds into this relatable family man comic persona.
And the sources track this integration of personal life really clearly, don't they? Like even the proposal.
Yeah, it's quite specific. He announced the engagement on Chelsea Lately in November 2010. But the actual proposal happened October 29th, 2010 at the Comedy and Magic Club, his workplace, essentially.
They're blurring the lines. Professional venue, personal moment, announced on a national TV show.
And the wedding. May 2012. Where was it held? At a tavern near Kent State University, their alma mater.
Back to the Ohio roots. Grounding the success in that relatable origin story. It's very consistent branding.
Extremely consistent. And then comes the baby news.
How did they handle that publicly?
Again, using their own platform. Jamie, his wife, revealed the pregnancy on their other podcast, Domestic Disputes, episode 26, October 2014.
They had another podcast called Domestic Disputes.
Oh, seems so. And then, a month later, podcast number 28, November 2014, they revealed the gender and the name a girl, Madden J, who was then born in May 2015.
Wow. So they used their own podcast as like the official announcement channel for major life events.
Why not? It's intimate, it's direct to their core fans, it generates content, and it constantly reinforces the real-life basis for the cartoon comic project. Everything connects.
It's a self-sustaining content loop. Life happens, they talk about it on the podcast deepens the fan connection, the life events provide material for a stand-up, and the cartoon becomes the owned IP.
It's really smart. This whole independent phase, it's not just about making stuff, it's about building an integrated ecosystem where his life, his work, and his own IP all feed each other.
But doing all that, the caplets, developing animation, multiple podcasts, plus touring, that takes a lot of time and energy. How do you sustain that level of independent output?
Well, that's where the final piece of the puzzle comes in. The move that provides the stability needed to fuel all this independent ambition.
The residency, right. The
Yeah.
Las Vegas residency. That feels like the ultimate goal for a certain kind of established comedian, doesn't it? Stability.
It's the holy grail for many, yeah.
Yeah.
Predictability, less travel, solid income. And Caparulo made that leap in 2018.
Who offered it? How did it come about?
Caesars Entertainment made the offer,
Wow.
which is, a major player. They gave him a weekly residency show.
And he's still doing it now.
Yep. Consistently performing John Caparulo's madcap comedy 5 nights a week at Harrah's Las Vegas.
5 nights a week, every week at Harrah's. Okay, let's break down the strategic advantage of that compared to the old model of constantly being on the road, flying city to city.
It's night and day, really.
Yeah.
First, the obvious. Financial stability. You have a contract, you have a guaranteed paycheck 5 nights a week. You're not constantly worrying about ticket sales in Des Moines next Tuesday.
Takes away huge pressure.
Huge. Second, eliminating the grind of travel. The source mentions he resides in Calabasas, California, and Las Vegas, Nevada. So he's either home or a short hop away. No more red eyes, no more crappy airport hotels multiple times a week.
That saves so much physical and mental energy. The burnout for touring comics is legendary.
It's brutal. So the residency drastically reduces that wear and tear. He gets to sleep in his own bed more often, be present with his family, which, as we saw, is central to his brand and content now.
So the residency isn't just an endpoint like making it, it's actually an enabler for the other stuff.
That's exactly how I see it. The Vegas show is the reliable, high-income anchor. It's the steady job. And because it's geographically fixed and predictable, it frees up his non-stage time and energy.
Energy he can then pour into the independent projects?
Precisely. He now has the financial security and the mental bandwidth to really focus on developing cartoon comic, to work on the animation, the writing, the business side of it. He doesn't have to take every single road gig just to pay the bills.
He can be more selective. He can invest time in the long-term IP play because the short-term finances are secured by the residency.
That's the strategic brilliance of it. The residency provides the foundation that allows him to pursue the ultimate goal, owning and controlling his own successful intellectual property. It buys him the time and resources to take bigger creative swings.
Okay, so if we zoom out and look at the whole arc again, it really does feel like a deliberate, step-by-step execution of a plan.
It really does. You see the progression. Start with the regional grind, learn the craft.
Okay.
Move to LA, prioritize proximity, and hustle the doorman years.
Right.
Get the big break, just for laughs, 2003. Capitalize immediately with TV.
I know, Kilborn.
Build mass market visibility and brand recognition over a sustained period. Chelsea lately, for 7 years.
Crucial branding phase.
Prove your broad audience connection, the country chart.
Unexpected proof.
Then, the moment network support potentially wanes, pivot hard to independent ownership. Caplet's cartoon comic development.
Taking control.
And finally, secure the stable, high-income anchor, the Vegas residency, to fund and enable the long-term independent IP goals.
Wow. Laid out like that, it's a blueprint. He went from being a performer hoping for gigs to being the CEO of Caparulo, Inc.
Pretty much. It's about leveraging exposure when you get it, building an audience, then using the stability you've earned to take full control of your creative and financial future.
A powerful model for anyone in a creative field, really. Hashtag check it outro.
So, yeah, just to wrap up the key takeaways here, we saw phase 1 was all about that grind and proximity being there, even if it's tough, like the doorman gig.
Right, access over immediate comfort.
Phase 2 showed how a single big break, like that 2003 festival, needs immediate follow-through with TV appearances to build real bankability.
You gotta strike while the iron's hot.
Phase 3, those 7 years on Chelsea, that was about embedding the brand, becoming a known personality, and proving that crossover appeal. Remember the country chart.
Can't forget the country chart.
And phase 4, the pivot to independence with the Caplets and cartoon comic. That's the crucial step towards owning your own destiny, not relying on gatekeepers.
Which is all supported now by the stability of phase 5, the residency.
Exactly.
So, for you listening, what's the big lesson from tracing a career like Caparulo's?
I think it really highlights that fundamental shift you need to make.
Yeah.
You have to move beyond just being a performer, hoping someone hires you.
Waiting for the phone to ring?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and become the producer, the one who creates the opportunities, owns the content, and builds their own economic foundation.
It's about taking control of the means of production, essentially.
Right, which leads us to that final provocative thought for you to consider.
We know he's got this successful Vegas residency, providing that solid base, that time, that money. And we know he's channeling that stability into developing Cartoon Comic, this very personal animated project based on his life as a comic husband, father. He uses his voice skills, leans into his relatable brand.
So, based on everything we've mapped out today, his strategic planning, his move towards ownership, the stability he now has, what do you think the chances are? Could Cartoon Comic, this independent project he's nurtured for years, actually become the next major phase of his career?
Could that be the thing that breaks through globally? A new media success story that he owns lock, stock, and barrel, all built on the back of that Vegas anchor?
It's the ultimate independent dream funded by the ultimate steady gig. Something to think about.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today into this fascinating career blueprint.
Our pleasure.
We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.